What is up, guys, and welcome back to a brand new video. This is AOR Germany, the first AOR race of the year. We've had the 2 or 3 week break for Christmas and New Year's. Not too sure how I felt about the timing of the break, because if you remember the last round that we had, which was the British Grand Prix, it was a return of form for me personally. I found that after weeks of being a little bit rusty with the game, after being in the UK for quite a while, it took me a long time to get back into the swing of things, and as soon as I did, it was break time. So a bit annoying, but here we are again with another round of AOR after, again, another bit of a break. I think all of us were maybe a little bit underprepared heading into this one. We probably had a bit of a Christmas hangover, no one really wanting to play the game all too much. Which is, you know, just us having a break from F1 and playing other games. Like, honestly, all I've done F1-wise was just playing career mode, and, you know, it can teach you some pretty bad habits, but otherwise, we've got back into the swing of things now. We had the SRL practice race. Well, I say practice race. It is a league race in itself, but it gave me good experience heading into this one. So hopefully we can have a good round here. Again, exact same strategy as, like I said the other day, we're qualifying on the soft compound tyre, which means we only have one shot at this, because you only get given one set of soft compound tyres, the middle compound, in qualifying. I wish this was a thing where you could select however many tyres of softs that you want to make qualifying more interesting, because it's such a lottery, and especially at a track like this where turn 1 is so dicey, you have to throw the car in and be so accurate, otherwise, you know, one little miscalculation either side of turn 1 and you're getting done for track limits. So it's very, very harsh in terms of whether you survive the lap or not. But anyway, I fueled the car up for 2 laps, and I just decided to see if I could get 2 laps in, because, yeah, like I said, turn 1 is just a lottery as to whether you'll get through there or not. I did go through there pretty well, but I think it was only, like, if I had to rate it out of 10, it was only a 7 out of 10, so I could definitely take a bit more time through that corner. But through the final corner, up to the line, that is a 11.8, which is okay, but not great. We start lap 2, and there you go. Like, it's so easy to do. There's no, I don't know, there's no real reference. You just turn in when you feel ready, and yeah, sometimes you get done, other times you'll gain 2 or 3 tenths. It's just the nature of the beast. We got P4, a lot of people not getting the laps that they wanted. I could have easily done a low 11, we all could have, but that's life.
Watch out for turn 1 at the start, turn 1.
But it's good track position for the race. P4, I will definitely take that, especially in a one-shot qualifying scenario. We're effectively P3 with Quicksilver, who's qualified on the ultra soft tyre, so we do have good track position from the outset here. If I can jump V Fens, then that'll be a good start to the race for us. But here we go, ready for the first race of 2019, AOR 5 red lights, and it is go time for the second half of Season 3 of Oceania, and it looks like a nice start. Ryan drawing alongside Quicksilver. We got the inside of Fens there into turn 1. He's still on our outside, so we'll need to leave a bit of space as we head into turn 2. The tyres are feeling very, very cold, and the way that I've set up the car means that the tyres felt a bit average on this first lap. You can just see we're just falling off the circuit. I ran wide at turn 2 on the exit, inadvertently pushing Fens off, and then you saw as I went through the left-hander, I was understeering myself off the track and onto the ripple strip, which was weird. But anyway, Ryan already on attack on Quicksilver. This is why the ultra soft strategy just does not work. It's literally only good for like 1 lap in qualifying, and then maybe 1 or 2 laps in the race before it completely dies off. So it's just, it's not a good tyre to be on. You're forced to do the 2-stop, and it's like 10 seconds slower in terms of race time. You've got no chance of competing in the race when it comes to the softer compound strategy. But you can see we're on board with Ryan. Quicksilver is going to go for a Hail Mary dive bomb into the hairpin, trying to slow Ryan up. Does not work though. He gives up the position, and we actually get past him as well in that process. So here's a replay from us. Quicksilver going for an absolute dive from the Dark Ages and gives up 2 places. And you'll notice that Quicksilver pulls over to the side here and lets V Fens go. Now I need to give you guys a bit of a history lesson. You guys probably don't know this unless you're in the inner workings of the Oceania community. There are 2 very distinct groups in this league. there's kind of like our group, which is me, Ryan, Warden, Rain, Jared, Master Berserk, and then you've got the other group, which is like Greek Master's posse. So you've got Greek Master, you've got Fens, you've got Quicksilver, Neon Tridome, maybe even Promise of the Wind, I'm not too sure. But a lot of those guys are all working together to help Greek do better. And it was a bit of a... You can see Quicksilver just retired there. He actually retired because he wanted to get some food. But I'll get back to that in a second. Here comes Fens up the inside of me. My pace at the start of this race is not great. I was in the 14s in practice in the opening laps, and here I am doing mid-15s, so I don't know what's going on here. I'm very vulnerable for some reason. I don't know if I was just like nervous or something because I was at the front, or I don't know. I honestly don't know. The pace was weird. I just had none of it. And Ryan was a bit slower than what we were doing in practice too. I don't know if it had something to do with extra people being in the lobby or what, but you can see we're having quite the battle here with Fens. He goes up the inside into the hairpin. Again, doing a bit of a Quicksilver, going in too deep. We just slide back up the inside through the undercut and hold on to P2 once again. But as I was going to say, there's a few people who work very closely with Greek Master to try and help him out subtly, and, you know, not throwing shade on them or anything, but there are some tactics at play from some of the people who are in Greek Master's party to, I don't know, just try and get under the skin of some of us, especially Ryan, to try and slow him up, etc. People like Fens at Austria had the opportunity to win the race. He had better pace than Greek Master all race, but was playing the Bottas role and just stuck behind him the entire Grand Prix and made sure that Greek Master got the full 25 points. There's little things like that, whereas all of us in our little group, we'll, you know, we want to see Ryan win, but we're not going to sacrifice our own race in that sense to make sure he wins the championship or anything. But I don't know, it's weird. It's just this very big rivalry that we have going on, and I don't think I've actually touched upon this up until this point, but it is a thing in this league. But anyway, Fens pits, lap 12. Very early on in the race to be doing that. The ideal lap to be pitting in is lap 13, 14. Ryan then responds on the next lap because Fens is going for a big undercut. Maybe trying to, again, get track position and try and slow up Ryan potentially for Greek Master to catch up. I'm not too sure. He probably wants to win the race himself anyway, but yeah, Ryan responding, and we're going to respond again on the next lap to try and do the overcut and come back at Fens towards the end of the race. I think we'll have pretty good pace. I just don't know what it was in the first stint. My pace on the softs was absolutely horrible, but hopefully with a change of tyre, maybe that'll reset things for me and I can get back on with this race again. So into the pit lane. This is very actually slow from me there. Didn't want to speed heading into the pit lane. Onto the medium tyres now. It's a good stop, 2.6 seconds. Master Berserk was right there with us the entirety of that first stint as well, which is really good from him. He actually jumps Greek Master in the pit stops, which will help me out a whole lot, because Greek Master, as you would imagine, is pretty fast in this Grand Prix. We're rejoined behind Neon Tridome, and we should be able to get in front of him. Maybe not on this lap, but on the next one, but we'll save a bit of fuel in his slipstream while we wait for the tyres to come up to temperature. There's a bit of a phasing in process with the mediums, so we'll make the most of that while we can. But yeah, Ryan and Fens got the undercut. Fens got a 2-lap undercut, which is pretty OP, so we'll be working pretty hard to try and close that in for the remaining 20 laps of this German Grand Prix. But yeah, we're looking pretty good for a podium. I'd love to get P2 and try and secure a 1-2 for Ferrari in this race. That penalty there is a bit of a setback for us. But it's pretty easy to get corner cutting warnings at this circuit, so I won't be the only one in this field who has a penalty. But here we go at the inside of Neon Tridome. Rich fuel mixture, overtake is engaged, DRS is open, and that is a pretty easy overtake in the end there. So next up is Fens. He's 5 seconds up the road, so we'll have to close it in for the remaining, yeah, like I said, 20 laps to try and get P2 in this German Grand Prix. I was really disappointed because I had the pace. I was like level on pace with Ryan when we were doing practice races earlier on in the day. I don't know, just completely on me. My pace was just nowhere in the first stint. I allowed Fens to catch up. I allowed Fens to pass me, and then I even lost DRS to Fens and he got away. So it's up to me now to try and claw back the damage that I've allowed to happen in this Grand Prix. 14 laps to go in this race, and now I actually feel a bit more comfortable. You can see I just went purple. Ryan went purple to the last lap, so I thought, okay, if Ryan can do that pace, I want to see what I can do when I push on my tyres as well. So here we go. This is going to be a running commentary of this fastest lap of the race that we do. ERS was like a bit of a consideration to watch out for as well. It was very easy to burn through the ERS because Sector 1 and 2, just a lot of straights, and then Sector 3 was really your only opportunity to save fuel and ERS. So that's what we more often than not do. But on this lap, since I'm pushing, I'm actually going to leave it in high, or at least medium in terms of the ERS, and try and get the most out of this lap. So far it's been pretty good. Hit all the marks majorly. That left-hand hairpin kind of corner there was always awkward for me. Never felt like I really nailed it ever, which was weird. But anyway, through the final corner, nice rotation through there, up to the line. This will be a pretty good lap. I think it is purple. 1 minute 14.3, which without slipstream, without DRS, is actually a pretty fast time. So I'll definitely take that. And we cut the gap down to 4 seconds from VFen. So looking pretty good at this stage. 7 laps to go in this Grand Prix, and Greek Master is now starting to catch up as I'm starting to just save a little bit of fuel, save a little bit of ERS as we gear up for the final few laps of this Grand Prix. I can now confirm at this stage, Fens has 9 seconds worth of penalties, whereas we only have the 1 penalty against our name at the moment through turn 1. Always making sure that we don't cut the track there. It's so easy to get done there, but you can see the comparison in terms of lap time. We're still cutting the time down to Fens. It's down to 2.9 seconds. Greek Master is still catching us though. He's in our slipstream and within 1 second of DRS now as we head on to the final lap of the Grand Prix. And at this stage, if things stay as they are, we're going to get second place in this Grand Prix and make it a 1-2 for Ferrari. But if Greek Master gets in front of me, that'll ruin the Ferrari grazie ragazzi, and I can really help out my teammate by finishing in P2 here. So that's what I'm going to try and do into the hairpin. I went a little bit too deep there. I think Greek Master, or maybe even someone behind Greek Master, was going for a move up the inside of the hairpin. No positions were changed though, but these final 15 laps, I would have said, were just so intense, especially the final 10, just trying to keep Greek Master behind because he was slowly creeping up onto the back of me. And I don't know, the final 5 laps, I think I was just as fast as him because he wasn't able to overtake towards the end there, which I thought was quite the achievement. But here goes Ryan through the final corner. Absolutely dominant display from him. It will be the race victory. First place for him. I think that draws him level in terms of points with Greek Master in the driver's standings, but across the line for us, it is P2 on the countback of penalties, and that will be the first 1-2 for Ferrari in Season 3. And man, I gotta tell you, I was so happy to claw that back in the final few laps of that Grand Prix after what I thought was a guaranteed 1-2 thrown away. So there we go, guys. That has been the German Grand Prix. Probably not the most exciting race in the world, but if you would have watched the stream maybe, or if you were just a driver in that race, you would have understood how intense that was. It was more of a battle of it was more of a mental battle, I would say. Just trying to stay as consistent as you could, minimize the penalties, and then bring it home for the finish. That first 10, 15 laps was so frustrating for me personally because I knew I could go faster. I was like a good half a second a lap slower than what I should have been, but I just couldn't work out like what was going wrong. It was just a big mental battle for me at the start, and then we switched the tires. I got comfortable once the tires got up to temperature, and then from there I think our pace was fine, but the damage was already done at the start of the race, which was the most annoying thing. We could have been right there. But otherwise, to claw back P2 after the setbacks, really happy with that. The outburst after crossing the line was pretty special in the party. see that we got the 1-2. That was something I wanted to make sure that we did before I moved to England. Now, I think the focus is on me trying to win a race. That would be really nice to do before I leave. And just other than that, just trying to do the best I can. Try and help out Ferrari in the Constructors. Because after I leave, there's going to be a good 5-ish races where Ryan will be trying to gun it alone, possibly, for the rest of the season while I'm in the other side of the world. So doing the best I can. We move up to P6 in the standings, 73 points. I've got my eyes on HO next. Fens, it's a bit of a stretch to catch him, but who knows, with some race wins, anything is possible. This driver's battle between Ryan and Greek Master is pretty intense at the moment. Level on points, 197 between the two of them. If it keeps up for the rest of the season, and this could be quite the battle. So stay tuned for that. Thank you so much for watching. Leave a like if you enjoyed. Subscribe to the channel if you're new to see plenty more racing game content. Until the next race, the Hungarian Grand Prix. I think a lot of the front runners are all very closely matched on pace at that circuit, so it's going to go right down to the wire, especially in qualifying for that one. Until then, I'll see you next time. Cheers.